Savage.
Jeremiah, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Michael. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I wanted to share with you, I agree with you. I believe animals do have spirits. And one thing that really started me on that journey is I read this article years ago conducted by a scientist, and it talked about the era before the prop in the boats and the era of the humpback whales during that. And what happened was the way whales communicate with the sound vibrations, every single humpback whale on Earth was completely in tune with every other humpback whale.
Oh, wait, around the globe?
Yeah, before the era of the prop, before there was any nescience. And any,
oh, my God. That's awesome. That is awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's sort of like a...
Look, all I know is one of the reasons I've always had dogs and always enjoyed dogs ever since I'm a little boy, and they've grounded me into the spirit world, and I know no one has to argue. You can argue anything you want. Nobody has proof one way or the other. But when I look at my humble dog, I don't see him. I don't see that dog as me, man, you, dog.
Right,
I don't see the dog as equal to me. The dog depends upon me for everything. The dog needs me to keep him alive. I recognize that. So I know I'm a higher intelligence than a dog. That's a given. Man is a higher intelligence than all other animals. There's no question about that. And as such, we have an obligation to be kind to them. Even if we eat them, we must slaughter them with kindness, not with cruelty. I mean, if you want to read the biblical law on slaughter, it's supposed to be slaughter with compassion. I don't know if people even understand that. In other words, just because you hunt doesn't mean you get to torture. Right? So even though man has the ability and the right to eat the animal, he has an obligation as a higher creature. God only knows he doesn't act like the higher creature, not with his ways, but let's put that aside. It's supposed to be a quick shot. The animal's not supposed to run with a gut shot for days, suffering and bleeding, is he?
Right, absolutely. And
in a slaughterhouse, the animal is supposed to be shot quickly and killed. I've been in a slaughterhouse, and I've never forgotten it as long as I lived. I didn't enjoy the experience. I went into a slaughterhouse in the Fiji Islands 30 years ago where it was very primitive. I will tell you that cow knew she was going to be killed, and so did every other cow out in the stockade. I saw the fear in their eyes. I smelled the fear of death on those creatures. They didn't like being prodded into the death chamber, but some to make them go forward to the man with the gun that was going to shoot him in the head. Okay, so it's not a pretty sight, Jeremiah. We want the steak, but we don't want the slaughter. This goes to the whale. Why must we kill in this day and age, in this late time of mankind, with so much cruelty on earth? Why must we kill a 130-year-old whale? Why can't we protect the 130-year-old whale?
I don't even know why people have to really hunt for ivory anymore. And on that, I'd like to add another article I read. It was either through National Geographic, one of those excellent sort of science survey magazines. Talked about the Saharan elephant in their groups. If one of them dies, and this happens a lot due to poaching, the other elephants of the group will circumambulate the carcass for days.
Yes, it's a survival instinct, hoping to protect it from further predation, hoping it will rise and join them again. It's very touching. In other words, there are sick elephants that will fall down, or injured elephants that will fall down, and if they circle the injured elephant, they're protecting it, hoping it will rise again.
Right, but this is even after...
Well, it is getting sad. A lot of people who are depressives are going to wind up really calling a doctor today. I agree with you on the main point that animals have spirits. I'm not one of these who say that when a baby... I'll never forget when I was in university and I had my first child, some so-called professors, the most liberal progressives of the bunch, used to say, "Oh, your child's not smiling, the infant. He has gas." You know, I've been around Nazi-like people in my lifetime. And the Nazis are the ones who said that humans have no spirits and no souls. You understand that we're all mechanistic. Haven't you heard that, Jeremiah?
Absolutely. It's a way to just...
They say that human beings are mechanisms. We're not even spirits ourselves. There are humans walking this planet with PhDs and medical degrees who don't even see us as unique and divine. And they see animals as nothing but robots made to be experimented upon. I gave up a very nice fellowship when I went to graduate school and wound up broke and poor because I wouldn't kill rats in a cage, because I heard my deceased father talking to me when I was in that laboratory the first day. And from the grave, my father said to me, this is what you evolved for, is to kill animals, kill little furry creatures? This is what you evolved for? It was a question that came from the other side to me, Jeremiah. And I left. I went to the professor and I said, I can't do this. I will not kill the animal. I'll do anything else in this pharmacological laboratory, but I will not kill those rats. He said, then you're going to be fired. I said, well, you know, I came all the way from New York. I don't have a dime. I won't be able to live. He said, that's your problem. I said, then I quit. He said, you're fired. And guess what? The Red Sea parted. I discovered botany where I didn't have to kill anything. Thank you. The rest is history. WOR in New York City. Charlie, we're talking about life and death and humanity. Go ahead, please. You're on the Savage Nation.
Hi, Michael. I'm an Orthodox Jew, and one of the reasons we cannot eat carnivores is precisely because there's no humane way to kill them. That's one of the reasons the Torah mandated not eating carnivores. That's
interesting. Let's define that for the listener. So obviously, a cow is not a carnivore. You're talking about an animal that eats other animals.
Yes.
And the Torah says that the reason you're not to eat a carnivore is because there's no humane way to kill the carnivore?
Yes, that's one of the reasons. I mean,
it's interesting. So, but wait a minute. Let me see if I analyze this. There are many people listening to the show who would kill a carnivore humanely. I mean, through a clean shot, wouldn't they? One shot and the animal's dead.
In modern times, but in ancient times, there was no way to do it.
No, because the animal would fight back, and it was a fight to the death, and the animal would be slaughtered. In other words, in a fight in the ancient days. That's interesting. I never thought of it that way. Well, let's talk about humane slaughter for a minute, because to some people, to vegetarians, those words are oxymoronic. Humane slaughter. But there is humane slaughter, and there is inhumane slaughter. I mean, obviously, we agree on that, Charlie, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, as an Orthodox Jew, in warfare, let's talk about warfare, man killing man. Are there not rules on how to kill your enemy?
Well, you're not supposed to cause inordinate suffering. Certainly not.
Okay. The Arab takes pleasure on a battlefield in desecrating the remains of the enemy he kills. They behead them, they cut off their genitals, or sometimes before the individual is killed, they will torture them. The Jew is prohibited from that behavior. Is that correct by his own teachings?
Absolutely.
So by the Jewish and Christian tradition, the warrior does not desecrate or torture the enemy. Now that and you don't read that in Associated Press, do you, Charlie?
No, I don't think so.
No, and you don't read what the Arab does to the captured soldier very often on a regular basis, and that means the other Muslim as well, by the way. They will torture and they will torment, and then they will desecrate another Muslim on a battlefield. That's also true, Charlie. It's not just directed at the non-Muslim.
Well, I don't know if you heard that there's a civil war currently today going on between Hamas.
Do it. What does that have to do with this discussion in your mind?
They captured in the West Bank. Fatah is in control, and in Gaza, Hamas is in control, and they captured and threatened to torture some of the captured Hamas people.
Right. So Fatah is the more vicious of the two. Which is the worst? It's Fatah, right? I don't know. It's Hamas is the worst one. I don't know anymore who's who. Last year, they were both murderers. Now, all of a sudden, one party is someone to do peace with and make a nation so they can kill the grandchildren of these people. I mean, it's crazy. Okay, I understand. We're giving weapons to one side, and the other side's worse. They don't want any Jew there at all. They want to destroy the Holy Land. They want to turn it back into a desert so they can be happy again.
It's hard to say. Hamas is more religiously oriented. They're more Islamic, whereas Fatah was more of a political party.
I can't follow it. What you're saying is one group captured the other and they're threatening to torture them? Is that it?
Yes.
I can't even follow it. All I say is a pox upon both their houses. Thank you for the call. The day we wake up to the fact that we still have the power to destroy them all, and we better do it faster rather than sooner or they'll kill us all, that's the day we'll survive and walk out of there with our tail between our legs. It's not that the men we sent over there to kill can't kill. It's that when they do kill, if they kill too well, they're called before a tribunal here of lawyers wearing Marine uniforms. Marines are in the killing business. They're not in the police business. And when you send men who are trained to kill to be policemen, they wind up to kill themselves. Put that down in the Torah of our times under the great commander-in-chief who's already given it over to somebody else.